Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 338. Today is Saturday, October 10th, 2020, and I'm glad you could join me today. What would it be? I decided to wear my Skein crown. What was it? I made a Skein crown last night with these mini skeins. But it turns out that the Skein crown works significantly better if you have closer to 2 yard lengths, and so you have sort of two sets. So there's a little bit of a chunky on this side, but that's where all of, I think, my dots ended up being, but not too crazy. It is pretty foggy today. We are almost to can't see the next hill foggy. What would it be? It doesn't quite appear that it has made it to my neighborhood, but who knows? It is definitely sort of dark, but since it's 2 in the afternoon, it's light enough. So I think we end up getting the soft diffuse fog light today instead. And unfortunately my coffee cup has now put coffee upon the chair that I stand my laptop on, so oh well. I don't know, this is looking promising that I actually finished a row. Whatever. We'll start with this project. So, I think I'm now up to 5 knit-alongs for this pair of socks. Which is pretty impressive, all things considered. So this is my Now and Next socks, which is a Hey Brown Berry pattern. So Morris of the Hey Brown Berry podcast is the designer. I am knitting it out of one of my hand-spun experiments. So this is Southern Cross Fiber BFL in the Desert Rose colorway, and I did an opposing plied twice yarn. So I made 2 plies the normal way and plied them together, and then I had a 3rd ply which was spun the opposite way, and then I took all of those, then I think S-twisted yarns, and then made a Z-twist single here. It is rather energetic yarn, all things considered, but it does seem to be hanging together pretty nicely. So even though it didn't seem, even though it didn't really seem like it worked, it seems to be turning out okay. And we'll bring it close so you can see the texture and the slow color changes. I was a little worried about this transition here, but I think it looks fine. What would it be? Or there are definitely a couple of places where the color changes pretty quickly, so I don't think it looks too out of place here. I have no clue how I ended up splitting the fiber for this yarn. It's been a surprise the whole time. But there was definitely a sharp transition up on the cuff as well. The other sock will not match. I finished all of my gusset decreases. I ended up doing them on the bottom of the foot for the sock, so that ends up making it have a, what would it be, sort of transition there. I may not have done that in the optimal way, because there does end up being a ridge on those lines, that line of decreases, which maybe I wouldn't have wanted on the bottom of my foot, but I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but I'll do it on the other sock. So now it is just knitting straight on until I get to where I need to put the toe in. So I am participating in Socktober, which is happening in the Earth Tones Girl and Hey Brown Berry groups. I am participating in the Falling Leaves Sock Count because this yarn is much more fall colored than I would normally choose. I am participating in the Sock Knitters Pussycat, or What's New Pussycat Cal. So I am knitting this pattern by Mars, and she is a designer I've never knit a pattern for before. I had heard of her before, but you got bonus points if you'd also never heard of the person before. And I wasn't feeling that intrepid. Excuse me. And let's see, anything else? Oh, I also made this partially count for the Bay Area Fiber Fair, which is why I made a Skein crown. So the Fiber Fair is ending pretty soon. I think it's ending on the 17th of October. So, like, I secretly hoped that I would be able to finish my sweater in time. It would probably be more productive if I finished my socks in time, but oh well. So, let's see where we're at. We are at a perfect point. So, I have been using, I have now started to keep this end stabbed on the needle so that I'm not stressing my balls of yarn too much. I didn't end up leaving enough of the long enough tails on it to wear it easily, but I'll try it on for you guys because hey, no big deal. I'm knitting the Mesa Sweater Wrap by Romy Hill using my hand spun Jenny the Fleece fiber, which is a Corriedale cross BFL cross Shetland, 50% Corriedale, 25% Shetland, of the sheep from Psalm 23 Farms. I dyed this all with food coloring and spun it, and I have roughly 1,200 yards to go. Maybe I'm closer to 1,000 before I'm done, and I've definitely knit sweaters with 12,000 yards of yarn in them before, so yay! So, what does that mean? This is my 7th color, and I just have 8 and 9 to go. And I'm sort of returning to the teal again. So here is teal, teal, purple, here's purple, purple, teal, and here's purple, purple, purple. Trust me, they all look teal on the screen now. To my eye, this definitely does look more purple, or there is definitely a pinkish cast to this bad boy that you guys can't see at all. Impossible. But in real life, this is, what would it be? The purple is more pink instead of looking gray. Not that the gray light today helps, but we also know that my webcam doesn't like this color at all. And one of my hobbies while I'm knitting on this sweater is finding my hair and pulling it out. Whatever, such is life. So, you can see the teal, you can see the blue, just not the purple. So, I definitely got quite a bit more done. I finished up blue, blue, purple. I think I finished, or would it be, was that where I left off? We can check. Yeah, this isn't quite gonna lay right now. So if we look at my marker and I get that less trapped, this is how much I ended up knitting this week, which is pretty crazy. It's like a solid 6 inches of knitting. And it appears that, so shortly after I'd finished recording the podcast, I ended up finishing up Purple, Purple, Blue, and I haven't finished, or wait, no, that would be Blue, Blue, Purple. There we go. I finished up all of purple, purple, blue right here, right here. And then, what would it be? And I'm now working purple, purple, purple all by itself. Now, purple, purple, purple was my biggest by weight skein. For some reason, that's where most of the leftovers ended up. So what that means, at least for this, is that I ended up, most of my balls were between like 50 and 60 grams. The purple, purple, purple was 74. So the current plan of record, and I'm just zhing slightly, there's no way I'm ripping this out anymore. Interesting having this on the forest screen. So, I shall stand up. Okay. So, ooh, we are covered now. That's cool. We shall adjust the pants. Okay. So, yay. That's exciting. So, that gray color is really purple. But now that ends up being covered, the goal would be to block this so that it hangs like a little bit longer. But that should be pretty easy to do, and then it will end up being fairly long. So it's probably a good thing that I would want to block it longer, because that would take up some of the length in the back. So there is quite a lot to go. So when I weighed it, I had saved about 16 grams, or I'd gotten to about 16 grams when I ended up when I ended up finishing purple, purple, blue. That translated to about 15 grams used of my purple, 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 which meant that, and actually I was surprised at how closely weight ended up equating to yardage, because I did like a quick calculation to figure out what's 1/3 of the yardage of purple, purple, teal, and that translated to about 20 grams of purple, purple, purple. And so basically my purple, purple, teal was one of my 60-gram ones. So basically 1/3 the yarn is 20 grams. I need to save 20 grams for that next section. Good to go. As you do. So, but what that meant was, based on sort of my yarn usage, I'm going to have a 40-gram section of just purple, 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 which is about double the size of everything else. But I think I'm just going to go with it. Like, what would it be? It's the gradient, it's slowly changing color. This is how I'm soaking this up. This wouldn't have been an issue if I had stayed with my original color sequence, because that big skein would have been the last one. But purple, purple, blue is definitely the weirdest of my skeins in this gradient. It looks much more teal in real life. I don't know why. So, whatever, such is life. Not too much I can do about it now. So that's going along. I'm putting a lot of work into it, even though it probably isn't oh, I definitely need that down lower. Pull on the skein crown. Okay, hopefully that stays similar. Yeah, so it's gonna be a bigger section. I don't think it's actually gonna matter that much. If it bothers me, it's still gonna be a little while before I have to choose. I definitely got a lot done this week on it. So it's time to move the marker. So definitely can see the end. I definitely didn't end up calculating how much yardage I had left to knit until after I was oh man, that's awesome. I knit 8 inches on this week. Isn't that crazy? Maybe we'll try this. Oh no, that's just gonna fall. Oh, such is life. Knit 8 inches on that this week, so that's quite a lot of knitting. Maybe I'm just closer to 1,000 yards remaining instead of 12. But oh well. I've been sort of keeping a journal of on my project page about what I'm attempting to do. It probably would make more sense if it was, oh my gosh, I cannot lobster claw right now. Can you see how much I'm struggling? Come on, lobster claw. Okay. Oh man. That was way harder than it needed to be. Oh no, where am I at on the purple ball? Would be good to know. Like, am I halfway? Halfway would be what? So 46. I'm not halfway yet. It would be, yeah, 37 would be halfway. I'm 5 rows from being halfway done. Or sorry, roughly. Is that true? 5 pairs of rows away. So, last weekend I had mentioned that the Lambtown Festival was going on. Actually, I'll be right back. Yeah. So I ended up picking up 2 things from the festival. It's like a crazy fiber. So I ended up getting this mini skein set that I'm wearing. So this is by Seismic Yarn. It is the Cosplay Rainbow Volume 2. So Harley Quinn, Biohazard Man, Bumblebee, Radioactive Man, Aquaman, and Huntress. So not too crazy there. And I thought that these were quite a lot of fun. So what would it be? I ended up making a skein crown because that was one of the Bay Area Fiber Fair challenges. I didn't actually own any Bay Area yarn with which to make a skein crown with until I got this. So, but I thought this was a lot of fun. I tried to make a skein crown last night because I saw it pop up on my feed, like, I should do that. So in order to make the most visually appealing skein crown, one needs to have 2 yard skeins. You have a pair of them, and then you end up pulling their ends into each other in order to make the crown itself, and then you can sort of choose how you wear it depending what you're going for. So this was a 6 skein set, and I ended up, what I ended up doing was I just ended up making a little hitch here in order to get that going. So but I figured that and then I had 2 of each, so we have the green and the blue and the pink and the purple that I ended up hitching together and twisting into a skein. So, doop. And doop. So, I really haven't bought that many mini skeins, so what are you? But these are 1-yard skeins, so that's why it was a little challenging to do the skein crown with them, because they were a little bit too short by themselves. But when I hitched them together, then they were closer to 2 yards, and that ended up working out a little bit better. But basically, you twist it into a skein, and then you sort of insert the ends so that you can have a fun little crown. So not too crazy there. And then the other thing I ended up getting was some fiber. So I ended up getting this from Bungalow Farm in Gora. Show the front of the card and the back of the card. So not too crazy there. And I ended up getting a bag of fruit fluff, which might be slightly terrifying at the moment, but I ended up getting 4 ounces of a 50/50 Angora Merino blend. So this was I guess it was Sally Fox organic merino blended with the German Angora from their farm. So it is very soft and very fluffy. So what would it be? And it's generally a good idea when dealing with Angora that you want to blend it with another fiber. So it's possible that I'll end up taking that and blending on my drum carder with some other colors in order to make something fun. But there's definitely sort of a humbug. It is darker and lighter. So should be interesting. It is, what would it be? It's sort of a blend of white and sort of like a medium brown, basically. You're like crazy hair. So that should be exciting and interesting to work with. So I'm wondering if I want to would it be combine it with some of my hip strings buoy and maybe explicitly heading more in the direction of spinning for a bohus. Could be interesting. Or something else, who knows? It could be a very interesting rainbow-tastic shimmer. I don't know. We'll probably need slightly more focus on the current spin. There's been no spinning this week. I was like, how do you get 8 inches on 300 to 400 stitches done? Don't spin. What would it be? In terms of how much brain power I need to do any of my projects right now, it's pretty low. What would it be? It was a stressful but successful week at work, so was good. But I think because of that, I was just like, I wasn't good for too much, and that's okay. So we'll see whether or not I get into spinning or if I just keep focusing on the sweater project. We shall see. I might be swinging a little bit too far. Or whatever, swinging a little bit too far on the knitting end of things. So I'll figure out the balance at some point. As you do, it would probably help if I had a bobbin on my wheel to begin working on the bats. So we shall see. But it has been nice to be able to actually work with the hand spun. So both of my projects are currently hand spun, and I think maybe what's going on is being like, okay, finish that sweater project. My hand's not quite big enough for this. Start the baby blanket. Keep chilling on the socks. And then go from there, if that makes any sense. But would it be? It's just sort of managing the knitting queue and making everything make sense. Though I am definitely pondering what sort of fun I could make with this. It's a lot of fun. So, like really, I don't have that many minis. But yeah, I was sort of like, finish that sweater, then you can like finish spinning for the next sweater, and whether or not you even make that be your next sweater. That's sort of, roughly speaking, where I'm at right now. So, be like, all of this. But yeah, no, it's always interesting when you end up having sort of those long-term projects and you're thinking about what you want to have happen next, and you're like, oh, something came up. So, whatever. Yeah, just have to roll with it. I'm feeling my quintuple dip socks are definitely winning the knit along game though. So yeah, no. So I'm definitely still having like dreams of poncho, but hey, I have a lot of yarns to knit before I can start thinking about that properly. Would it be? I'm also really glad you guys ended up liking my liking the last episode in my section about baking and cooking. So thank you very, very much for that. What would it be? Ooh, it's starting to drizzle. This is what counts for excitement here. Would it be? It's like, if you follow me on Instagram, you will see my other shelter in place interest is in addition, or whatever. So we have the spinning, the knitting, the eating, and cooking. Like, eating and cooking. And then the fourth, I don't know, the fourth leg of this is being fascinated with the fog here, especially whatever in the summertime when it seems to be more common to occur. So I am in this room. I have a very, very clear view of the fog rolling across the city, rolling up the street, rolling up the hill. So there's several different levels of fog that I think about. So there, where we are currently, is that I can't see the next hill. On a perfectly clear day, I can see the Pacific Ocean from the house. This is not today. Next level of fog is I can't see the hill. So everything will be clear, but I can't see the next sort of neighborhood looking to the west. Then the fog gets thick enough that it obscures the giant radio tower near my house. It's probably about three city blocks, maybe 4 away. So you know it's pretty foggy when you can't see that. And then roughly 1 to 2 blocks away, there's a house in the neighborhood that's painted bright orange. And it is super foggy if I can't see that orange house. So there's like Forest Hill fog, and then there's Sutro Tower fog, and then there's Orange House fog. And it is very, very foggy when you can't see the orange house. And very, very foggy when it starts to be that the houses that are, I don't know, somewhere like 50 to 100 feet away are getting obscured too. I don't know, would it be? Yeah, 50 to 100 is probably a decent estimate of how far that. I'm not going to try and measure it. But basically, there isn't a house backing up to my house. The lot ends up going to the next street, which is sort of terraced. So there's just a rather steep hill to for my backyard, basically. So from where I sit, I can see the neighbor go into the kitchen, make food. I know it's always very interesting whether or not they end up looking back at me, but whatever. I don't currently have window coverings on this window, so it doesn't like there is too much to obscure there. And then the final leg of my Instagram posts is selfies from me driving around with the top down. So you're welcome, I guess. They make me happy and whatever. For some reason, those posts are the ones that Instagram ends up reminding me about, so who knows. As you do. So that's just whatever, a little bit in terms of my other shelter-in-place hobby, which is looking at Carl the Fog and wondering what Carl the Fog's doing. Oh, and this is totally a 100% San Francisco thing. Apparently the person who had been posting on the Twitter account Carl the Fog hasn't posted in 200 days, so someone created a new Twitter account, Carla the Fog. Which then means that Carl, or whatever, so that would mean that the Fog is now transgender, and I shouldn't dead name Carla, so I think I'm still gonna call it Carl Fog, because it's just all made up anyways. But yes, the Fog has a name. I know. And I think the other interesting thing is that you know that it is fog because it is moving and in a hurry. So for some reason, when it ends up visiting, it is rushing. And so that's why I end up taking boomerangs of it, because what's interesting, at least to me, about it is how it's sort of tufts of it are on the move, going somewhere. And that's really cool. Sort of like when I was a kid, I always really loved it when there was like a blizzard, because the street light was in front of that, whatever, in front of my childhood home. And so you could see the snow swirling and going all crazy in the light of the streetlight. And so a similar thing happens here with the fog. So what you'll end up seeing at night, especially when the fog is pretty dense, is that the streetlight will be there, and then you'll see all of this swirling, crazy, moving fog. I can't capture it for you because it's too dark for my phone. But it makes me really happy that that piece of my childhood is available here. So I just think that's really cool. So what would it be? Like, you can take the girl out of Michigan, and that girl might stay out of Michigan. Or would it be the odds of me going back? Probably pretty low. But I don't know. Who knows? Life's a mystery sometimes. I wouldn't have, or what would it be? I don't think I would have predicted how things turned out so far, so why predict how things will turn out in the future? But the final thing is, what needs to happen today is I need to sit down and fill out my absentee ballot. So that finally arrived in the mail this week. So a reminder to all of my American friends, figure out how you're voting, and execute on your plan. So I am filling out the absentee ballot. I'm going to drive to City Hall with the Deer State Level 1, and we're going to turn them in the ballot collection box so we don't have to clog up the mail. And what would it be? But the voter guide, we ended up getting 2 voter guides about this thick, one of them for local elections and one of them for state and national. Like this thick, out of that newsprinty paper. So it's not even thick paper, it is thin paper. So there's an awful lot that I need to read to understand what's going on. Because the other thing is that oftentimes, like, one of the interesting things about California is that they do voter propositions. So if you get enough signatures, you can vote on laws that the legislature can't really change. And they are worded in very weaselly ways. So you have to be careful, making sure that what you're trying to do is, or what you're voting for actually makes sense. So understanding like who's funding that particular proposition, because some of them are definitely AstroTurf. So, oh well, it's crazy. But this is my reminder to you all. Like, what would it be? Participate in the process. Vote, vote, vote. End the chaos, please. I'm so over the chaos. Like, it makes me wistful for high school, and that's impressive. So, oh well. Who knew? Who knew? So, anything else I wanted to talk about? I believe that is everything. So, couples dash positions, no spin, so crazy. But knitting with hand's fun, so that's probably good. I haven't fed my drum carder recently, but that might be backlog spinning at this point. and we shall see how close I get to, excuse me, finishing the sweater. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.